Namaste. Welcome to Learning with Sana. This is Manasa Chandra. The last time you saw me, I had a clean shaved head, and I hope you have watched the video on why I shaved my head. If you haven't, I have left the link in the description below, so please do have a look. It's a story of how I overcame my low self-esteem. So I'm sure it'll be interesting for you. And coming to today's topic, we are talking about de-addiction. Basically, what is addiction? Addiction is when you know that a habit or something that you like doing or having is not good for you, but you still are not able to give up on it. So when I say addiction, the first few things that come in mind are smoking too much or having a lot of alcohol and such serious stuff. But it need not be just that, Addiction is anything that you can't live without. It becomes difficult to stay without it. That means you are addicted to something. When there are serious addiction problems, there are ways to get de-addicted. Programs like rehabilitation and aversion therapies and a lot of other modes of treatment. But a very important factor here is no serious problem or a simple problem can be treated unless a person is ready to change. So what are the steps in overcoming addiction? First and foremost, it is important to identify that there is a problem within you. So once you identify it, it's important to accept it. Yes, I'm addicted to this and I need to overcome this. Because I see a lot of people in denial. Though they know that they have a problem, they kind of say that it's not a big deal, it's not going to affect me too much, or I can live it someday in future, and they're kind of postponing it or not accepting and addressing the issue you have right now. And the third step would be to take responsibility. So once you take responsibility of solving your problem, then you can find ways of doing it. And the fourth step is to work towards achieving this. So there are 4 steps, like I said. Number 1, identifying the problem. Number 2, accepting that there is a problem. Number 3, taking responsibility of overcoming the problem. And number 4, working towards overcoming the problem. Another important aspect is, whenever you are addicted to anything, your body and your mind has learned to become dependent on it. So when you suddenly try coming out of it, it's not good to do a drastic change because your body kind of starts showing it. This is called as withdrawal symptoms. So you'll have symptoms that makes you irritated, that makes you want to give up on what you're trying to achieve. I would like to give you an example of how I overcame my addiction. So I was addicted to tea. I had to have at least 2 cups of tea in a day, one after breakfast in the morning and one in the evening. I hadn't realized that I was addicted to tea until that I saw a pattern where if I missed tea, it would cause uncomfortable feeling in me. I would get irritated. I would not be able to even work. Like mentally, I felt I'm not able to give my 100% without having tea. So this is when I realized that I had kind of got addicted to this. So one, I identified that I have a problem. So the next step came and I had to accept it, that it's not good that I'm so dependent on something that not having it was making me less capable. And then came the third step of taking responsibility. So I decided that I'm not going to let this continue happening to me. I had to do something to overcome tea addiction. But initially what I did was I stopped having tea. And after 2-3 days, I just could not bear it. I had to have tea because I started getting bad headaches and I would get irritated because very naturally my body was not able to take the sudden change. So I realized that my style of trying to overcome this was not right. Anything drastic to the body is not good. So I had to take it slowly. So tapering would be the best method to use. So what I next started doing was more like an experiment. I started going slow. I first targeted the evening tea cup. So I would have this big cup full of tea in the evening. The morning's tea I kept it intact. I was not going to touch it for a few days now. So my first target was the evening tea. So in this cup, instead of taking a full cup, I started taking 3/4 for 3-4 days. And then I started taking half cup for 3-4 days, or a day or two more if I thought I was not ready for the change. and then quarter cup for 3-4 days again. And it came to a point where in the evening I would just have a sip or two of tea for few days, and I stopped. And just stopping it would still not be okay. I wanted to cheat my mind. I wanted to replace this tea with something more healthy. In the evening, I started making my own teas without tea powder. So you can't call it tea, but I still called it healthy tea. I would grate ginger and grate raw turmeric, add some pepper. It was cold season then, so I used things that would create heat in the body, and add some jaggery to it for taste, and I started having it. And it worked wonder, because I didn't miss anything at that time. So when I knew it was time for tea, I would simply make these kind of teas. There are many ways. There are other things like tulsi, mint, a lot of healthy options that you can just try it out. There's no harm. Anything from your kitchen in good proportion must be good. The next target was the morning tea. The same procedure I followed for the morning tea, from full cup to 3/4 cup to half cup to quarter cup to 1 or 2 sips. Each quantity to be maintained for 2 to 4 days, whichever felt comfortable for me. And in 2 months, I was completely off tea. It's been more than 5 months. I've never wanted to go back to having tea, and I'm also glad that I'm having a healthier drink both in the morning and in the evening. So now that you know the simple steps of overcoming addiction, I think this can be kind of adjusted and modified and used with any kind of addiction that you have, unless it is very serious and you would want external or medical help. I really think this will work out. Please do comment and let me know what is the addiction that you have, and if you're willing to accept it, take responsibility of overcoming it and working towards achieving de-addiction. Thank you for listening. We are on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube as Learning with Sana. People ask me what Sana is. I am not Sana. Sa stands for Samudra and Na stands for Nakshatra. They are my 2 little toddler boys. So here I share whatever I think is precious, the things that I learn from them, things that I learn being a parent to them. Hence the name of this channel is Learning with Sana. Thank you. Manasa Chandra signing off.